that's one way to get more money.
Oh,
If the
yeah.
company won't give it.
I know, you worked there for years, then they hire people in making more than you are. That used to make me so ill. I'm so glad I'm out of that work sector.
We should be,
Is Heather home or is she traveling?
She's home right now. They backed away since all this war going on.
Oh my goodness.
did you find the agendas?
Did I find it?
They're out there if you need it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Look at that.
He decked
Oh,
out.
he is so cute. Look at that. He is precious.
Getting in
Just like a
everything.
little movie star.
Getting in everything. Or sis.
Oh, she looks like, oh boy, she goes up.
All she does
Thank
now
you.
is she sits around and grins at everybody
Uh-huh.
around. It's like, you just wait.
Getting your
Hang in
picture.
there.
All right, we should
Yeah,
be
another picture.
good, we should be up. I got 702.
It's a boat, but she's got one of these plate things. It makes it look like it's supposed to matter.
Are we recording?
Okay.
In that case, I'll call the meeting to order. And Phil, would you like to give us an invocation, please?
I would.
Lord, we come before you today thanking you for this day, for the weather we've enjoyed, for the blessings that we enjoy. Not only to ask you for your blessings on this meeting, Lord, as you be with our aldermen and our mayor, our town manager. God, with you also be with the county commissioners that govern our county, with the state representatives and senators and our governor, our president, Lord, our federal representatives and senators. And God, in these trying times, would you be with our service people all over this world, Lord, protecting our freedoms. And I pray that you would put your hand over us and protect us. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any discussion on the agenda as presented? If not, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second,
No second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Is there any discussion on the February 23rd meeting minutes? If not, I'll take a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay, we are now moving into a public hearing for the changes in the zoning amendment language for the UDO. These changes are pursuant to section law 2023-108, which affects chapter 2, section 4.5, and session laws 2024-57 and 2025-94, which affect chapter 2, article 4, section 2.21. The purpose of this hearing is to receive public comment on the proposed ordinance amendments. Misty, would you like to present exactly what these amendments are?
So I have it up on the screen if we need it bigger. The first one is just the wording that they changed for building materials, facade, signage, design features that evidence compatibility with the surrounding area. That requirement applies only to structures that are not subject to residential building codes. So that wording is in red.
The basic meaning of that is we can't tell people that what to put on the outside of their house, why we can on a commercial structure.
Unless it's in a historic district.
What?
Unless it's in a historic district.
That's governed by separate rules, not our UDO. Okay, continue.
Then in C, in the course of evaluating a petition for conditional zoning for a proposed use or development, the village may request additional information from the petitioner related to number and location of all structures, exterior features, and building materials and architectural style for buildings that are not subject to the residential building code, which kind of mirrors what was said earlier. Signage and any additional information needed to reasonably demonstrate that conditional zoning will minimize particular impacts. Again, it just sort of goes back to that first one for buildings that are not subject to residential building codes. This bigger one, the downzoning prohibition. So they've stricken third-party downzoning or rezoning that reduces allowable uses to a property are prohibited. The Village of Alamance or the landowner may initiate a downzoning. That's no longer allowed. No amendments to zoning regulations or zoning map that downzones property shall be initiated, enacted, or enforced without the written consent of all property owners whose property is the subject of the downzoning amendment. For purposes of this section, downzoning means a zoning amendment that affects an area of land in one of the following ways. By decreasing the development density of the land to be less dense than was allowed under its previous usage, by reducing the permitted use of the land that is specified in a zoning amendment or land development regulation to fewer uses than were allowed under the previous usage, by creating any type of nonconformity on land not in a residential zoning district, including nonconforming use, nonconforming lot, nonconforming structure, nonconforming improvement, and nonconforming site element, which essentially means you just can't change the zoning to make it. The downzoning actually means going up in your zoning number, right?
Yeah.
So you can't go R15 to R20.
Yeah, the purpose of this, from the state's view, is they're looking at keeping housing affordable. And if we're currently zoned R15 and we want to make it R25, we're restricting the number of houses that can be built and making houses more expensive, which is at odds with state policy. So they're telling us we can't do it unless all the property owners affected agree to this. And it's a mandated state change. We have very little that we can do about it, not accepting it or anything. The advantage that we have is we are already fairly well zoned. We have no real high density zoning within the village, so it has no real bearing on our zoning at this time. Continue, there's one more, I think.
And then they've just taken out section D. No proposed change in this ordinance or zoning map, if denied by action of the Board of Aldermen, may be submitted within a period of 1 year from the date of such denial, unless the board unanimously finds that changing conditions in the area or new information concerning the property requested for rezoning warrant resubmission for a change in this ordinance. However, should the denial be for a conditional use rezoning, it may be resubmitted within a period of 6 months. So that's being taken out, which just means that someone can petition to rezone repeatedly without a time limit.
So can you go from like an industrial to a multifamily with this?
If the owners of the property agree to it, all the owners of the affected property. If you're rezoning an entire area, you can do it. And again, the state would be generally in favor of it because they're looking to increase housing affordability.
Gotcha.
That's the object of what they're working on these days, which is why they allow them to come. Well, you wouldn't let us build the apartments, we're going to apply again next week and keep pounding at you till you concede. So that's that last change made. But as I said, we're in good shape. We've redone our zoning and all. We're happy with where our zoning is. So we don't, with a lot of villages in town for making this, I call it up zoning, but they're using the term down zoning. You're down zoning the amount of units that can be built, which, makes it more expensive property, which to me is an upzoning. First time I read this from the state, it was difficult to understand what they were getting at. Till Misty and I talked to the state on it, and they told us what what it really meant. So again, we don't have any of this that we would, there's nothing we are even thinking of upgrading down zoning, so it's not really pertinent, but the state says we want to keep dealing with the state and keep compliant, we have to do this. So, okay, and at this point, I'll take any public comments on this. Is there any public comment from the audience? Okay, if not, do we have any other board questions? Okay, there's no further discussion, I'll close the hearing, and do we have a motion to adopt these changes as presented?
I move we adopt the changes recommended.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay, at this point, we'll move into public comment for agenda items only. Each speaker has up to 3 minutes to share their thoughts with the board. Board members will not respond or engage in dialogue during this time to ensure an orderly process and allow more voices to be heard. Comments are taken seriously, and relevant matters will be referred to staff or future agendas. When you come up to speak, please state your name and address for the record. Is there any comment on the agenda itself?
I don't know if you can hear me or not. I've just got a couple of questions, but you said you can't answer.
Well, that, no one says we don't answer. The policy is we do not have to answer.
Oh, good. First of all, I want to tell you, I'm not here as anything except a friend to the village. I've been serving for 24 years, so nothing that I'm not here to run for office or anything. I wasn't even interested in the planning board, except I was afraid somebody wouldn't run, so I put it on the back of the envelope. But at any rate, my point is, are we going to vote, are you going to vote tonight on that personnel policy?
It would be a board decision. At this point, it's still primarily a discussion item. Last month, we discussed it, changes were requested, Misty made those. Again, if the board decides they're happy, they could move to have a motion.
Okay.
It's not
When-
something that mattered.
When was that prior policy? The one that was attached to it, the prior policy that was attached, when was that approved? And who wrote that?
Nick,
Nick wrote
when
it,
Nick
so
was
it would
here,
have
he
been.
wrote that, and
And the board approved it? Okay, so that's the only policy you have in place?
yes, ma'am.
The policy that you have is, obviously you cut and paste and got from everywhere, and that's fine. But it's not entailed enough. It's only a policy. It's like putting a wheel on a tire on a wheel that you have no wheel. You need a policy and procedures manual, not just a policy. Because you need to know what else is happening. I got 10 years of experience in HR. I'm just speaking from my experience. I would be happy to help the board go through, get a policy and procedures manual together, but it would require y'all tabling it tonight and having a working meeting so that I could work with you. Because it's really lacking in so many areas that it's just,
Yeah.
I would be embarrassed to
Is it
put that out as a
correct,
policy.
is it correct to answer that the policy is a general terms item? It can be separate from the procedures and the procedures part of the policy.
So do you have a procedures part of the policy?
Yes, and, in general, we're taking these things one step at a time, because obviously you see what we had was
Yes,
basically
nothing.
meaningless. We're trying to get everything in order, and the board in general is taking steps that are more manageable, and we don't wanna get bogged down
Well, it just-
within the point, so,
I understand your point, but at the same time, if you don't have it all together as one group saying this is the policy and this is how you manage it, I don't know how you can I don't know how you're gonna put that together later. It's kind of backwards to me, but it's y'all's policy, but at the same time, I want to protect the village from any frivolous lawsuits down the road that might occur because you don't have a procedures in line.
okay.
Thank you, Gabrielle.
Okay.
Sherry Ford, 3968 South and C62. I had brought up the personnel policy to start with, and I got a copy of the policy that existed and could not believe it. A one-page policy that did not address anything to do with disciplinary action, the responsibilities of employees, or the function of employees and how they are behaving or performing. There was nothing in there about performance, nothing. It all fit the benefit of employees. And I can't believe that the village would hang themselves out there like that. Thank you.
Any other public comments on the agenda? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the old business. Arnold, the OIC report, please.
All right, Fort Trade night, looks good. Collection system on Burke Station, we did have a spare pump, it is in the building, so both pump station are running, everything's running at the station, and we got a spare pump. And Trent's working on replacing all that. Thank you, Brent. Pond Station, actually, there's no power at the Pond Station right now, but it was, me and the mayor talked about it, it's a good station not to have power, because they don't need it to run, so. There's like 62 customers on Pond Street that's out of power right now, I used to check on for them when I got over there, so. Anyway, probably a tree on a limb, so, power line. NC 62, again, we have a spare pump over there for that station in the building. Also the station, itself inside the fence, you know, all the, trash cans were moved out, and I finished cleaning up that today. Actually, and we had a box made for the blower that was there, so all that's looking like it's supposed to now, and all that's cleaned up. So. Distribution, I did get the THM results, I got them with me, but all that passed for all our THM stuff. Now, that's kind of Greek to most of it, but as long as it's passing, we're fine. So. Chloramines, that will start back April the 13th, is what we're hearing right now. Could be a little later, but it should just be a transition that you don't even know is going on. So it just won't smell as much chlorine in it. So. Other than that, unless you got questions, I think I'm pretty good.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So I know you've probably heard this from my son, he lives at they're like on the last of the water line on Cedar.
Okay.
And they noticed that sometimes their water like stops for a little bit. And I didn't know if that's because they're at the end and when we work on it, it leaves an air pocket or something.
Good, yeah. If it's in the end, yeah.
He said just like for a few seconds it'll stop. I think they contacted Misty, but I said,
Yeah.
maybe because you're at the end of the line and
Could
then
be,
something
yeah. If
happens.
it's at the end of the line, it could be, yeah.
That's the one I sent you pictures on.
Right,
See
right.
if it was-
But it does loop though, it loops back to a 2-inch, which comes out with Miss Sharp's property and comes back up. So there is kind of a loop in there. It's not a dead end. But it could be, but you're going from a 6 to a 2.
I asked them if they paid their water bill.
Right. Oh, wait, maybe that's what is that what you asked?
You gonna pay for them, yeah.
I mean, we did have one call over there, and I sent Jerry's Cody. He went out and pulled the meter. Everything was fine. Talked to the owner, but then the owner told him that he did have a leak between the meter and the house that he knew about. So that was actually the problem, not on their side. So I don't know if that's the same place we're talking about or not. Oh, it is. Okay. Okay.
Just wondering how that worked. But
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Arnold. Misty, public rec update?
The Public Rec Committee has decided to kind of step back a little bit from the picnic shelter at this point and slow the process down and kind of go back and reevaluate what they would want to see. We also have a very small piece of land between the school and the museum that would make a nice area to do something in, possibly walking trail, maybe some exercise equipment, maybe just a nice little garden. So there's some different ideas that are being talked about, and we didn't want to do Part F funding just for a picnic shelter because it's a bigger process and more money involved. So if we're gonna pursue something bigger, then we'd like to reevaluate maybe what we'd like to do.
Now, how far have they come with the little fishing pier or drop-off landing?
Can I weigh in on that? I talked to the guy from the county that was working down there one day, and he said they're out of money. They have expended all of their grant money, which I believe was either $30,000 or $40,000. And they've used it all up. In the stairs, they've got a set of stairs that goes down to the water. They finished the parking lot and the curb cut and driveway into it.
So that won't be asphalt. I thought one time it was supposed
It's
to be
not,
asphalt.
as far as he was concerned,
It's
there
not.
was not gonna be any asphalt. And he said they were not gonna put any toilets in there. And he said they may put a picnic table down by the stairs. That was what he said.
That's when they'll get more funding later on, like next year, and come back to it, but maybe not.
It's hard to say.
That's-
Did he say if they were going to finish the pathway over?
He did not say
Right.
that.
But they
Did he
left.
say that, Phil?
I'm sorry, what?
Was he gonna finish the pathway? Were they gonna finish the pathway?
I think so, yes, but that was it. They spent $15,000 on the steps and $25,000 on the apron, and they had a $40,000 grant, so they were basically, if they had the materials already, they'd use it, if not, they were done. And yeah, he wide-eyed when I said something about the bathroom, he said, no, we're not doing bathrooms.
Okay.
that's not good.
Yeah, I went down the stairs the other day, they got a handrail up on it, which wasn't there the first time I looked.
They're steep.
Yeah, I wasn't going down without the handrail.
Well, is it a little dock where you can stand on and do anything, or just?
Yeah, there's a platform in the water, it's about 2 by.
Is there in the
4
water?
Yeah, it's in the
Okay.
water, 2 by 4 feet.
They may have added that.
But it's not like a little place you can fish off of or do anything.
If you're
But
fishing
you're gonna have to
alone,
drag,
you
you're
can.
gonna have to drag your canoe or
Yeah,
kayak up that bank.
okay.
Now, that's gonna be a chore.
I'll have to get a piece of rope, tie it around the tree at the top, I don't know,
You got
no.
Okay.
You can start. You start, I'll come
Mr.
down and watch.
Julian, you want to present the current round of personnel policy updates?
Can I,
Oh,
when I weigh in here first, I'd like to make a motion and to table this agenda item and schedule a working meeting to discuss in order to protect our employees and the village and the board from possible legal action.
I'll second it.
Before we discuss, Paul, any comment on this?
I mean, you can certainly table it.
Obviously.
I have not had a chance to review the personnel policy, the draft at all.
Okay.
Missy sent it to me today, but I had appointments all afternoon, so.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So in this case, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of tabling it to at least the next meeting? Opposed? Okay, it's tabled to the next meeting.
And, you know, on that subject, we could, you know, a working meeting, I don't know how working meetings work. I would assume that we're gonna try and all get together at another time.
Yeah, we will schedule a working meeting after we take care of the budget meeting that's coming up.
Okay,
Yeah, and with the budget meeting, you'll get used to how working meetings work.
good, okay, thank you.
And, so, but the budget is more critical to get done right now.
Exactly, yeah,
And,
okay.
I don't wanna put that much time pressure on, and this will give Misty time to research deeper into what other villages have on the actual details and everything.
And it sounds like we've got people that are willing to help you and give their input on this kind of stuff. And like I say, it's to protect you and Hannah and the rest of us
Village.
and the village.
That's the
So,
whole point of trying to put something into place.
Okay,
Paul, you would have a chance to look at it by then probably, wouldn't you?
Oh, sure.
Maybe, I mean, a
Yeah.
month out or two.
Absolutely.
Good, yeah, get our stuff together and then,
I can pull
Yeah.
a couple other ones that we have as well.
okay,
So,
good.
sure.
again, as I said before, it's not something that we're under any pressure to complete. That's why we sat last month, discussed it, moved it on to this month for further discussion. So we'll evaluate this and, come back to it.
When are you doing the budget work session? Do you have a date for that yet?
April 10th
Okay.
from 8 to 1 is proposed.
Okay, moving on, just a quick clarification and update on the burn policy. The village has no rules or regulations concerning burning of yard waste within the village. It is illegal under state rules to burn yard waste within the village. But if you want it enforced, you either have to call the fire department or the state forestry division. They're the people in charge of enforcing it. It is not a village issue at this point. So, again, we have no rules, but it is illegal under the state law.
How about a permit?
Permits, they've been issued by the fire department. It's theoretically illegal under state law to issue one in, but again, it doesn't concern us directly. It is a fire department problem, if they want to issue them within. But anytime you do burn within the state, you do need a permit. So,
So is there,
but again, it's not an issue that the village deals with at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a permit, you can contact any of the local, guys at the fire station and they'll hook you up.
was there any guideline? I know we talked about all this. I thought we put something in about how, did we even put about how far it has to be
The
from the
state has rules
structure?
as part of the permit process on how far it has to be from a neighboring structure and, and wind conditions and so on. And, the rules, like you're supposed to have a hose available to help control and stuff like that. It's all on the state forestry website, what their rules are, if it's in an unincorporated area where it's allowed.
I mean, what actually helps if say you were to get a permit, Tim, and wanted to burn, say Saturday, if you would call the fire station and let the guys know that you plan to burn, that way if we get calls,
My big thing is
we're
just
ahead of the game.
somebody starts a fire and it gets over in the next person's yard. I think we've had some situations like, get them to a fence and the next thing you know, but, just for the safety of everybody's property or homes.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, if you have a problem with neighbors burning, you contact the fire department or the state forestry department.
Can we put that on our website? Another
Well-
thing
Yeah.
to contact, not call down here per se, but
Yeah, and put it in the next bulletin that we have space in.
just,
And Misty, did Chris have any issues with the yard waste pickup this time?
He did not say that he did.
I spoke to him today and he didn't have any problems that he wanted to tell me about or anything, so.
I talked to him too when he was out the other day and he said he didn't see anybody yet, but he hadn't been everywhere.
Yeah, the people on Heritage Lane by me took their pile of 16-foot long limbs and cut them into 4-foot limbs in separate piles and made it all easy, capable of being picked up.
And I think the fellow next to you got his stuff picked up on Freedom. Your next door neighbor that had all the stuff out in the street.
Yeah, I saw them actually picking it up themselves.
Okay. Now, Trenton, you're up. Please raise the microphone so everyone can hear. Okay. Stuck under. The cord's stuck under, I think.
All right, I'll go ahead and start with the engineering report first, because it's the short items. Heritage Glen Phase 5C, we're still waiting to
Go ahead.
certify utilities.
Okay, can I ask a question? Who the
Yes,
heck are we waiting on? This has been on there for like 3 months.
it's been on there for about a year.
So, I mean, I was in construction. If I waited for an inspection for more than 4 or 5 days, I could start calling somebody.
It's not
And
my
get some action.
prerogative, it's not my prerogative to get it complete.
Okay, but who's to do this?
The developer,
The developer is doing this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not under my purview
it's his
for
issue then,
when
I
they
guess.
get it completed.
Yeah,
It's-
I guess then we
He's
don't
not ready
really
to
get
build
what to
yet.
do with it.
No, and
Yeah,
I'm going to
okay.
reach out to the developer tomorrow, because we're actually been discussing another issue.
Okay, I understand now.
So
didn't-
I was gonna bring it up whenever we were on our phone conversation.
Sure.
Just to try to get an idea, but it is not mine.
That's
Gotcha.
Chris Faust, right?
Yes.
Cool.
We talked to him at the fire station too.
Guy doesn't want to get inspected, I
He
guess he doesn't.
well, he hasn't sold any lot yet, so he's not putting any money into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's got
Well,
other developments ongoing.
makes sense, I
that
guess.
he's- Has their, the Birch Street pump station, the pump station improvements haven't put out the bid. There'll be a pre-bid date of April 1st and a bid opening of April 16th.
Can I ask where the bid is gonna be opened?
Just about to tell you.
Okay.
Office of the engineer, it'll be at our office.
At your
Chapel
office, and
Hill Road.
where, and what time?
It'll, the pre-bid's at 10 a.m. and the bid opening's at 2 p.m.
Okay, can you give me that information? I got
Of
nothing
course.
else to do, I'm retired, so I might as well
Yeah, I'll email it
come
over
to
to you.
look.
Sorry, I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I'm still waiting approval on the force main documents. They, I reached out to him today to try to push that along and have not heard back. For the Sitco plan review, we're still awaiting final submission for review and approval.
Yeah, another one that's been on for 6 months to a year, where it's their delay, so, we'll act when we get it, but till then, the developers are all overworked right now.
No frozen pizzas.
Parks and Rec wise, I'm awaiting guidance for additional funding opportunities that we'd like to pursue, different discussions. We had discussions last week on potential funding opportunities for repair and additional sidewalk, which I'll get to here in a minute. And then I'll go ahead and jump into, we have a couple resolutions in front of you. And actually, I'll start with the capital improvement plan, since that's first under new business, if I have permission to move to new business.
The capital improvement plan is up on the screen. I did not get it in time to get printed out.
No,
That's okay, that's okay.
Yeah, you had an email to us,
I did, yeah,
Third, yeah.
this is an updated capital improvement plan. We have one, but it is, we did not do any updates, last year with the budget or anything like that. So some of the projects that were on there have been done. And some of them we were ready to remove because it wasn't something we were gonna work on. So Trent helped put together, an updated capital improvement plan. I didn't mean to step on your
No,
toes
you're
there.
good.
So it's something for you to look at and consider. It's up to you whether you wanna adopt it tonight or not, but it would be helpful to have an updated plan, when we get ready to apply for some of, the resolutions are to apply for some funding. So,
Again, this is a very temporary approval we would be doing. This is part of our budget review, which we'll be doing on April and possibly May reviews. These plans, the capital improvement plan is essentially a village wish list. It is not a binding document. It's a guidance document the board creates for itself, and it can be amended at any time for any reason by the board. So what we're asking for really on this is approval of this, so we have, because we're under a tight deadline on applying for the sidewalk grant, and as Misty says, this is a relatively required portion of it to have an updated capital spending plan that does include what you're asking to fund. Again, we are under no commitment to do it if we don't get the money, but, it's something we would like to do if we had access to state funding on it. So,
Okay, so the things that are on here and the amounts that are
They're
on
subject to
here
change
are
based
just-
off your budget discussion.
Okay, and so I'm just trying to understand this a little bit better. In the future, we're not gonna say, somebody's not gonna come back to us and say, well, you guys approved $400,000 for sidewalks up to Eamonville.
That is correct. You are not approving any projects at this point. You are approving a wish list to look into future projects.
Thank you.
Yeah, because my question was $100,000 for sidewalks, and I think we'd already went through this, there's no way. Were we just replacing the existing
It
for
is like
100?
if you went to your budget meeting and you budgeted out for the next 10 years, that's
Right.
kind of what you're looking at here. It's not
Oh.
exactly,
This is what
it's
you
not like
do.
I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and say, okay, fiscal year 27, we're spending $100,000. I could wake up, we could table that and save up till fiscal year 2029 and do 300,000, and that's subject to change based off your budget discussion.
And what the cost is of ongoing.
And actually, if you look at the first item, it says the funding source is NCDOT. If we don't get the funding, we don't do the project.
Okay, and that's why I'm trying, yeah, I get it now, how it
Yeah.
works, all right.
Yeah, this is, this is grant require, as Misty has discovered, a whole bunch of paperwork, a whole bunch of documents, support letters and public interest letters and all sorts of stuff that she's learning how to put together. And again, as I said, this is right now a placeholder for the next month. It will be subject to full board discussion and analysis in the budget meetings. This is part of the budget process. As Misty said, we did basically ignore updating it last year because Misty was new. We were under tight time pressures, working on the budget and figuring out where we were and what everything was. So we just held over the existing capital improvement plan. It was, we did not have time to update it. But now that we have Hannah and Misty both and we're getting stuff done and this paperwork, Misty's getting time to work on all this stuff. So, and again, as she said, some of this has been done and, it's just a wish list. So, if there's any other questions on it right now?
So we'll have this at the budget meeting?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And, as I say, this, tonight, this serves the one function of having it so we can present it to the state DOT and hopefully get some funding. So do I have a motion to approve this version of the capital improvement plan as presented?
I'll move, we accept it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next, Fred.
That will move me to the resolution to apply for the NCDOT multimodal grant. This resolution is for the pursuance for a design of a future sidewalk. The goal of this project would be allowing us to move forward with the design. We've previously done a design moving from Cabin up to Birch for a very preliminary. This would allow us to turn those into construction drawings as well looking into planning documents to take us all the way up to Heritage Fund. So this resolution entails those documents to allow for essentially a letter of support for us to move forward into looking into acquiring funding to look into the planning stage of design.
And is this the one that has the 10% match?
Yes,
10%
yes,
of
there is a
match.
10% match.
This would, we would be committing in the budget up to $20,000 to fund our portion of the planning.
Just the plan, not building anything.
Not building anything.
So, we're going down this path of still looking at a sidewalk. I don't approve of the sidewalk myself, I think it's
I don't
crazy,
either.
but
I mean,
for one thing, here's my, I'm gonna look at it as children's safety. You put a sidewalk going out on one side, whichever side we decide, I don't care. But we don't have a lot of intersections with traffic lights, with the hands that says go and cross, and people cross, now they're gonna come down the sidewalk, walking, and then they're gonna cross to the post office, let's say, get hit, kids get hit, skateboard and so on get hit. I just look at it as a safety. If we had a bunch of people that walked to school and we needed, I would be all for it. If we had you told me there was 30 kids walking to school every day. And we needed, because they were walking on the side of 62, I'm all for it. But I hope everybody can understand the safety thing that
Well, there's
if we don't put a bridge over or something like down in Chapel Hill where they go across the road.
Well,
It's a
there's
liability
also
issue too.
that dumps across in the middle of the road.
Now, if we're gonna redo what we already have and add on 50 foot because we need to for wherever, down the side road, whatever, I'm all for that. However, whatever the board wants, but I'm looking at it as safety down in the future.
Well, my thing is, Tim, if they're looking to carry the sidewalk all the way to Heritage Glen, I don't think you're gonna have enough people walking on that friggin' thing, that's just a waste of money.
We need more, we need sidewalks inside Heritage Glen
I'd
because
rather
we have
put,
so many walkers in the
I'd
morning,
rather
but,
put the money on water or sewer than I had
Yeah,
something that's not gonna be
absolutely.
used.
you know, or if we do go with the shelter for a park, something, that. But like I said, the sidewalk, you know, and then whose side of the road's it gonna be on? You could have it coming right across your, you know, in your yard, cutting into your yard if it's on that side, or we put it on the other side, but again, if you do the other side, then they gotta crisscross somewhat, but it's on the side that the post office is on, but
Well, we got so much traffic now.
yeah,
Oh, I know.
and it's not gonna get
It's
lighter.
not gonna get any
On
better.
that issue, as part of the study, there are crossing systems that the state has approved for sidewalks to get them across roads with traffic control items and everything. So that would be covered under the study, what it would take to make it safe. But still, it's a board decision on whether or not we proceed with this.
Yes.
You know, what it does is it gives us, you know, if we would be spending $20,000 for a plan, we would know what it would cost if we ever wanted to do it. And if the federal government comes back in with the funding that they used to give back when the Democrats controlled the federal government, remember what Greensboro built all over the place in sidewalks and all, that was all federal funding. And
And I know everything new getting built now, if it's a new road, just like in Burlington, they're putting sidewalks, I think it's required.
Well, that's
It
required
is
now.
required in
Any
almost
new
all
development's got-
municipalities
Yeah,
across the
University,
United States.
Church Street 70, they've all
Yeah.
got the new stuff, which is great. I mean, I'm not
At this-
knocking it.
at this point, even if we do this and get the grant and do the planning, we're not committed to do anything past that point. The only thing the village is committing out of its own money if we get this grant is a $20,000 match.
So basically what you're asking us to approve are these 5 items on the second page, in essence.
Uh,
Be it resolved that the Board of Aldermen
Yes,
of the Village
that's the
of Alamance,
resolution.
one support, submission, commits to providing the 10% local match, commits to participating in the planning process. That'd be wonderful. Affirms its intent to utilize study results and authorizes mayor, village administrator, or other designated to work the documents.
I mean, it's early to close the door on it, even though I'm trying to lean against it myself.
It's,
But this at least leaves the door open in case something were to change.
it's
I don't know what's gonna change.
federal availability of money. The federal government had, under Obama and Biden, had an extreme walkability program. You could get any sort of sidewalk project 100% funded. And we missed our chance then because we weren't prepared. And, you know, the only, as I said, we're committing 20,000 to be prepared if these grants come back in.
The 20,000 is for Ally Williams, Carmen, and King to
It's
pursue
not.
this thing.
It's not 20,000, it's a 10% match, and based off our estimate, it'd be about $3,500.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was up to 100,000 on this.
It's up to, but it's for planning, so we
Okay.
anticipate it being somewhere in the $3,500 range.
Okay.
Would we
I stand
approve that
corrected.
before that? We would have to approve the money before we went through with that, right?
We would have to accept the grant.
Yeah, the grant, I believe, is
Even if
$4,900.
you were to receive that funding, you do not have to accept it. So we would still come back here and have another meeting to discuss if you would like to move
We
forward
could-
from that point.
The state could say, we're giving you 35,000 to do this study. Your match will be 3,500. It's a board decision at that point to accept it. But if we, so I stand corrected on the amount of money I was working off the gross total.
I mean, if we get it, we still shut the whole thing down, still not be out.
$3,500.
Yeah.
Well, we're not even accept, as of tonight, by applying for this, we're not even committing to the 7,500.
The resolution is just to be
To
able to
submit.
apply for the
Now,
grant.
is the
It's just
sidewalk
keeping
the top thing on this? I know there were several things up there, but is
So
the
if we don't get the
sidewalk-
grant, he's not gonna go ahead with the
No.
design.
Right.
Okay.
And if we get the grant, we don't even have to accept the grant at that time.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's when, if we're offered the grant, that's when we commit the matching local funds to accept the grant. And that's the decision the board makes at that time. So at this point, this is just paperwork to see if we can get money and give, for lack of a better word, we're giving Misty experience in applying for these grants and getting used to dealing with the state government on what we can and can't do on these.
But if we get the grant money, like Tim says, do we have to apply it towards new sidewalk, or can we be repairing, use it for repair?
There is an
of our existing?
option for repairing the existing sidewalk.
You know, we're in dire need of some of that.
we
Yeah,
are.
that
We're
wouldn't
committing to
matter.
spend it on sidewalk design.
Sorry. Yep, before we, yeah.
And then I wanna answer another question, it would not be towards Alley Williams, Carmen and King, it would have to be an RFQ that was put out to acquire bids for an engineering firm.
Oh,
It could be you guys, I assume,
It could be.
Yeah.
But that would be a decision for
for the board
For
to
the
make.
board.
We got it.
Okay, any other questions on this? Does anyone wanna make a motion to apply for this grant?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, Trent, next one.
Alright. The next resolution in front of you is some projects that Arnold and I have discussed in the past when we did the smoke testing months back. And the first one would be a sewer AIA project to farther investigate the quality of our existing sewer lines. There's been some questions coming up on connections, where connections are, along with some outfall questions of just how the lines are deteriorating over time. We would be able to do some work if we were to acquire this to move forward and look into any issues that are in the existing sewer system. So that would be the first one. The second one being on Cardinal Lane. During smoke testing, it was evaluated that some of the manholes are seeping and that there's a couple services that are running through the creek bed, along with an abandoned line that's not truly abandoned. And we'd like to do some more investigation and repair of that, looking into most likely, which we haven't gotten to the design phase, but most likely coating the manholes and lining the sewer in that area. And that would be the second part of that resolution, would to be go forward and trying to pursue that work.
Okay, is there any local match on this one?
It would be contingent on an affordability calculator that once we look through the audit data and fill out all the audit information that is required for the grant, we would know what the match is.
Okay. What would be the maximum match?
Maximum match 50%.
So again, this is state money we've had in the past. We used it on the water side of the system that helps pay us to go in and see what's wrong with it. Last time we did the sewer checking was the smoke testing, which found some problems. But before that, we had cameraed a lot of lines in the old section of the village around Cardinal Lane. We found multiple problems, would be a polite way of putting it. There were 2 manholes that had been paved over. There were lines not where they were supposed to be. There was a patch done with a 5-gallon bucket and some cement thrown over the top half of a pipe that had been damaged. Duke Power had a pole sitting on our pipe and cracked it. There were a couple cases of cable putting lines through our pipes. That's what this grant is to continue to analyze and make sure our sewer system is not going to be giving us problems.
This is money well spent.
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
Other than the sidewalk.
Right, totally
This is
agree.
more my line here.
Yeah,
Yes. And, again, right now, as I say, Misty's been working, we have free grant writing right now out of the League of Municipalities, so we're looking at the ones that are available that they're advising us on, and Trent is. And this is one of the ones that I'd really like to get.
I'll make a motion that we pursue this one.
a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Misty, next up is the motion on selling the old utility shed.
We just need a resolution to be able to put a, advertisement out to sell the utility shed. So, if it is something, it's just, you would consider it surplus property. It would be sold as is. We would ask that the buyer would provide liability insurance before they would remove it from the property. We would do it as a sealed bid. We would open it here probably April 20th. And we're just trying to get it out of the way at this point. So
We need it
it's,
out of the- we're not using it now, everything's out of it, right on them? You got everything out?
Yeah, there's some pipe in there, but Jerry didn't want it, so I just let it go with
Okay.
it. I would like to add, and I've done our signaling that, once we move that building out, we may have to do some fencing to keep people driving in between the two trucks.
And, I know that Jerry wants the building out of there because if he had to get a major piece of equipment down to service the sewer line, he'd be having a real problem getting it.
And it'd be great to have another gate right there where we could just go right through
Yeah.
and go down.
If we can put a gate up, that'd be a board decision after we get rid
Does
of it.
that building have a floor? Is it like one of the window
It has a
buildings?
cheap plywood floor.
Yes, well.
I didn't know if it could be lifted up and put on a trailer and moved like one of the
Yes, it
window
can.
buildings.
Yeah,
No electricity hooked to it or anything?
It's wired for electricity, for receptacles and lights, but it's never had been hooked up.
So this is just asking us to declare it surplus?
Declare it surplus and authorize
Authorize
Misty
it
to
to sell it.
solicit bids.
And I think that with that, we should, in the interest of transparency, we need to know who the successful bidder is and what the amount is.
Obviously,
So I don't
bid
go
over
in there and buy it for $10.
Well, $10 is cheaper than us carrying it down.
And that's not my bid.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some people have expressed interest in it.
If we could
Maybe
do
even
that, that
nobody
would
wants
be,
it.
that would be great.
So do we have a motion to adopt this resolution as presented?
I'll move we accept the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Misty, since this is aesthetic issue law, you present the plantings around the sign itself.
All right.
This is the first stage of the beautification down there, replanting around the sign.
So I've got 3 different pictures for you that I tried to use AI for, just so you'd have an idea. Robbie is our landscaper, and he suggested, he put the technical names of the flowers down, so that's, essentially we could do gardenias on either side, or, a smaller, we didn't think we would go back with roses. He said they're just often susceptible to disease and things like that. So we would put a couple of ornamental, maybe floral bushes. His suggestion was to do sort of a triangle pattern there, and then ornamental, I think it's allium, which is basically a fancy onion, but it makes really beautiful blooms. And then 2 holly sky pencils on either side of the sign. So this is obviously not the most accurate rendering, but I wanted you to have an idea of what something might look like.
I did have my landscape designer look at this, by the way.
Okay,
And the pencil trees are, on each side.
yes, sir.
I think everybody knows what that. Now, you had told me spirea at one time,
Yes.
they get to about 3 feet, plus or
Okay.
minus.
So those, I believe, are these on
And
the
they're
side?
offset, yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
And the LMs get about a foot, plus or minus tall, and that's about it.
Okay.
And she was looking at the prices that he had on here,
Mhm.
and she wanted to know where he got them, because those are good prices.
Yeah, I talked to him
Just
today, he does, as a
excellent prices.
landscaper, he has a contact, I guess. So that is something, I think we would be working with about a $1,300 budget. He did say he overestimated, but also he noted that, when they went in and removed most of the stuff, that it would really need, the soil kind of needed some help, so they'd be bringing in some soil and trying to add to it to make it nutrient rich for whatever else may be planted. And then I've got a couple other,
Would he be putting mulch over this too and then
yes,
finishing it out, turnkey deal?
yes.
So, okay.
So a second idea, which was on his plan, and it was one that I asked about, just out of curiosity, would be the same, smaller bushes on the side, and then I asked him about potentially doing, annuals, and we would change them out from pansies to, totally forgot the name, it's on the sheet. But anyway, we would change them seasonally, and it was just, I just wondered if some color and change would look nice. That would be about $500 a year to change, so that may not be what we would want to do.
Anything's better than bushes, because the bushes you couldn't even hardly see the sign.
Yeah, that's why he said pencil bushes
mean,
that
it
aren't
is.
going to overgrow the sign.
And to note, I did have him look at the pictures and he did say to let you know that what you're seeing is mature landscaping, so it's gonna start out a lot smaller than that, and the sky pencils would be a little bit more narrow potentially, but his plan is to keep whatever we choose trimmed, manicured, and keep it low to the ground. The sky pencils, he would say, his recommendation would be not to let it get much higher than the posts on the sign. And then the last option, and it's not your only options, but this last one is what they call messy miniature boxwood, I think, so it's very, very small. It'll create a little hedgerow. You could have a couple of plantings on either side, and then again, the two sky pencils.
I think the more color for that sign, it really looks good.
It does.
Mhm.
But you didn't have to replace those boxwoods or whatever they are.
So would you say that this design would be an out?
I would.
We would?
I mean,
It
that's my
doesn't look
opinion.
as good, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Okay, okay. So then when we go back, we've got either, he did say that the center bushes or plants here, we could do in pink, a pinky purple, or a purple. I think there's like a blue purple. So there's some colors to choose from there. And then he also suggested that if, sometimes white, it's beautiful when it blooms, but as it starts to turn a little brown. So he did suggest that we could either do something with different colors in it, either red or yellow, something like that. So there's lots of options. It's just, do you want perennials? Do you want annuals?
I don't think we should do annuals, that's just too much work.
Yeah.
It's a lot, yes. So this is his plan, and whatever you decide on the side, we would do a small triangle and then, kind of fill that center in and keep it low, and that way we would have low growing shrubbery on the side, nothing that would cover the sign.
I like it. That's great.
Yeah, that's good.
And he did say that this is really the season to start, so if you don't make a decision tonight, then, you know, as
It's too
soon as,
I'm up.
yeah. Cause, yeah, and if you wanna go ahead and say yes, then he'll go ahead and start working on that, but if you want to work on other options, we can do that as well.
Is he gonna maintain these at all? I mean, is he gonna
He
water them
does,
for
yes.
the first year or something like that, or?
Yes, he's here, I think he's here weekly.
He's our mowing contractor and all of that sort of work also. So
It's
he
Robbie,
is-
who is it?
Robbie Harris is the fellow that we contract with for,
Okay, and does he have a company or?
it's his
Okay.
own business,
Okay.
yes.
That's when we get done before Flag Day. Yeah, we're on a tight schedule.
Yes.
Okay. Does the board want to proceed with this layout with the perennials?
Are we voting or what? How are we doing it?
Uh,
If so, I so move.
Well,
How
First
you
of all,
wanna do it?
make a motion to actually do it. We don't really need it, but it doesn't hurt to have a motion.
Okay.
To accept the perennial plan. This is Plan 1?
This is,
Motion to accept Plan 1 with the perennial plans as presented.
So, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Nice to have it looking nice again. Actually looks pretty good right now without the bushes
Yeah.
overgrowing it.
It does.
Okay. And the last item on the agenda is acknowledging the passing of Anthony Salazzo Jr., who was the original water engineer for the village before my time, but he just passed, and he was one of the people who helped build the original water system. So, you know, we would, the board, I'd like the board to express their condolences to his family. Okay. And moving on, is there any public comment on items of general interest? Phil?
Phil Cheek, 4312 South NC Highway 62. Good to see y'all. Some misconceptions about the sidewalk. 32 years of adjusting and handling lawsuits across the state and 8 years in law enforcement. How many accidents I handled with somebody hitting someone on the sidewalk? 0. When I think about it right now, the times that I had people that were hit, that were walking, it was because they were walking on the grass. And in one case, a fella tripped, went out into the road and got hit by a truck. That's fairly common in those kinds of things. As far as liability, Paul, I don't know that you handle insurance. I've handled lawsuits for 4 years with the state on those kinds of things. Never a problem in those things. You don't have any liability if somebody's walking down the sidewalk and they get hit by a car that comes off of the road. So that's one side of it. The other side is, if we're gonna put in a cake, coffee and a pastry shop down here that we hope was gonna go in front, and the church is doing an awful lot to put a playground and all that stuff, we want to encourage people to walk. And at $4.50 a gallon, or $5.19 if you're driving a diesel, let's walk. It's kind of the chicken or the egg, the horse or the cart. You know, are people not walking because, Lord knows, Saturday night I tried to walk down to the ACA for a meeting 3 doors down, and I had a guy come across the white line and try to hit me. Saturday, coming down the road on my bike, concrete truck got up beside me and then moved over and put me into the grass. Witnesses called me and told me about it. So I know sidewalks are expensive, and I'm not for $400,000 to put a sidewalk from here to my house. but I want you to reconsider, if we can get a sidewalk in and do that, I think that's gonna encourage people. The people I've talked to would enjoy a sidewalk, especially if they can walk down here and make a day of it, drinking coffee, going to the put-in and all that stuff. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any update on Plaid Day? It's not in the agenda or anything.
Misty, quick
It's-
update?
Yeah, it'll be Saturday, April the 4th. Yeah, that's right. We've not had as many vendors this year because it is Easter weekend. But we have music, food trucks, hopefully antique car show. So we have a lot of activities for for kids and adults, different things to do, some games and things like that. So hopefully we had students in the 5th grade.
With a cannon.
Yeah, a lot of the historical places here will be involved with that. So hopefully we'll have plenty of history and interest for folks to come out.
Still got the bouncy houses?
We opted not to do the bounce houses this year. We did, axe throwing. It's not real axes. So, we did several games, I think skeet ball. So that Hannah coordinated the games. So there's definitely gonna be several games out there. Also with the music this year, we thought we'd do a, section where we could do line dances or karaoke if somebody wanted to come up and play. But the 5th graders at E.M. Holt wrote essays, and so we're working on choosing some winners, and we will have Dennis Riddell out to present flags to the top 2. And we made sure that all the kids that wrote essays got a Kona Ice coupon. So, and we are well under budget this year for cutting out certain things.
All right, do you want the fire department to have trucks there for
Yes, sir.
display?
Yes, sir.
Because the chief asked me, he hadn't been notified yet, so, he felt out of place, he was.
I apologize. That
You're
is-
now notified.
I appreciate that.
That was, it has
appreciate you
been,
showing up.
yeah, it has been a challenge between trying to finish up implementing all the new software and try to reach out, to people and keep up with that. So it's been a challenge to plan Plaid Day this year, but I think barring Easter weekend, making it less attended, it should be a pretty good event.
Well, I know that's put a lot of
Reason
extra
to have it Easter
work on
weekend?
them.
Why did it choose?
Why Easter weekend?
The Plaid Day committee voted to have the first Saturday in April so that we didn't have to change dates all the time. It's just unfortunate that this year it wound up on Easter weekend, but moving forward, the next, I think, 6 or 7 years, it won't be on Easter.
And there are other events, Mevin,
It's too much
Other-
on Easter.
places that have things later in April, and that seemed like it was either the first Saturday or the second Saturday. So,
What's wrong with Mayor too? Is there a problem if they wanted to move it up or, forward?
I think originally the Plaid Day Committee was trying to avoid running into any other festivals and things that were going on. That was what it seemed like, that there's a lot of activity in the early fall, and then it gets really hot. So
Yeah.
they were trying to find the best compromise for weather and avoiding conflicts with other festivals. But it is something that I'm sure can be adjusted if it needs to be.
And one good thing with the fire department, we got some good EMTs, we can take care of a scratched knee up to a heart attack.
Yes. Well, somebody did fall out the first or second Plaid Day, yeah.
Any other public comment? Any other board comments?
I like to comment on one thing.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was real impressed with the input that we've had from y'all tonight, and I appreciate it. I think you made a lot of good points.
Thank you.
You know, that's one thing that Phil's wife said the last meeting, she wished there would be more people that would entertain the idea of coming, see how we operate, and then give their 2 cents worth too, because you can pick up a lot of things.
That's right.
So, my hat's off to the corral outside there.
Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
Dan's got the sign. Yes, saying to him and done it like last October. And I think he was gonna run it by Matt Law, who's the attorney for the HOA. I agree with that. This is, people reach out to me. That's what I'm trying to to me, this is really
Yeah. And I came in on Friday, talked to Misty, and she kind of went through. You know, I mean, it's.
Yeah. I'm gonna try
Yeah, my business like Thursday. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't keep you too long.
But I think it's I mean, I really see the overall and all that. I don't know.
We have to get it. That way I can read a piece of it and we can talk about it. Like today, all they do is we have it.
Yeah.
We're done about 5.
I mean, you look at that and you go, if somebody got come out and teacher
But,
say,
that way,
you know, I mean, you know.
It's a wish list, that's why I put it out there. It's not something that we are willing to do. I just had a free conversation 5 years ago. I don't know, I'm sure.
I mean, but I got most of them, and they were overwhelming.
Well, you know, we used to always call, these people retire and they come back and they're part-time, they save for their own. And then the right thing, get a chance to
Well, I sure appreciate this, and I'll make sure I get to date.
Yeah.
Which they will.
Yeah, I was gonna try to call it this.
What is with the?
Oh, good. I know that was a lot in that board packet, it was a lot.
Yeah, but eyes up, that's right.